welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And in this video, we're going to take a look at this. This is Frozen 2. Now, I already reviewed Frozen 1 that came out in 2013. This came out in 2019. Now, at the time, I had not watched this. I watched this last night. But the main complaints was it had darker tones. It wasn't as good as the first. It had darker tones and they were kind of fractured because there were kind of three different stories going on. And people didn't like the songs as much. Now I disagree. I actually really liked this as much as I liked the first one. That is my opinion. And yeah, it has darker themes. And yes, there are three stories to an extent of what's going on. But in many ways, there were three stories going on, if not slightly four going on in the first film. You had Elsa dealing with letting go of her powers and being isolated and learning that love was what was important. There was Anna, and she was learning that love was imperfect. There was Prince Hans, who was learning not to mess with two sisters by trying to take a country. And there was Kristoff, who was learning to love another human, considering he spent most of his life around the trolls. But yes, it was mostly the two girls' stories. It was mostly focused on development of Elsa. Now, in Frozen 2, there are three kind of stories. There is the minor story of Kristoff trying to propose to Anna and keep messing up because he doesn't know. He keeps stepping over his own feet. There's Elsa, who's learning to find herself and where she belongs. And then there's Anna. Anna has the biggest kind of character arc here in this film, where she's learning that she cannot protect her sister and that she has to do things for herself and not constantly following around Elsa, because her entire life has been trying to protect Elsa. Elsa has been the center of her universe since she was a little girl. Everything revolved around Elsa. And she has to come to terms with the fact that not everything revolves around Elsa. And that the sisters need to work together. So let's get on with what happens. This movie starts off in the past, where their mother is singing to them and trying to tell them a story about the people of the Enchanted Forest. So, and then they fall asleep. And then it jumps to the present, where they go through a song of certain things not changing. Because Olaf is kind of concerned that certain things are changing. The girls are getting older. And Elsa's kind of trying to find her place as queen. And of course, it goes into the fact that Kristoff is trying to propose to Anna because he's in love with her. But then it kind of goes into Elsa, who keeps hearing this siren call. And has this feeling that things just aren't quite right, that she doesn't quite fit where she's at. And she's hearing this call that's from the north. And it's like, what is this going on? Everything I love is here. What is going on? And there's something calling her to go into the unknown, which is the song that she ends up singing. And then she accidentally awakes some of these elemental spirits. And they have to evacuate the entire town. And so they need to go north. And this is when she asks, like, can I borrow your sled and Sven Kristoff, he's like, yeah, no. Anna's and Elsa, Anna and Kristoff are going with her, as is, of course, Olaf, because Olaf goes everywhere with them. So they go off, and they're able to get into the Enchanted Forest. And they run into old soldiers from their father's time. And they recognize this leader of their group as somebody who's in the portraits, in the portrait hall with their father. And then as well as the native people who have been fighting. And then they run into trolls. And it's like, okay, they can't get out. They haven't seen the sky in all these years. I can't remember exactly how long, because it's been since the girl's father was young, when they built this dam, and they had heard this story that they built it as a sign of peace. That's what their grandfather had done. But then Elsa starts interacting. First, she interacts with a fire elemental, which turns out to be a tiny little, I was going to say it's a chameleon, but no. It's a salamander, which is typical. They've been, salamanders have been mythologically attached to fire. And then they end up with a wind spirit they call Gale that's kind of messing around with them. There is a song with Olaf in here that's a little weird and a little off. It's 8 o'clock. I have a small child. It's Monday. It's our grocery shopping day, as well as my daughter has speech therapy right now on Mondays, so it's a long day. But nonetheless, that is the one thing I was like, Olaf has a strange song that I can't even remember, just because it's trying to be comic relief and it doesn't fit here. But this is before I think they run into the leaders of the two different groups. But then after they deal with the trolls and then the fire spirit, and Elsa keeps trying to do what she kind of did before in the first film, which is make Anna go away because she's trying to protect her sister. And does that erase the character development of the last film? No, because that wasn't what she was overcoming. She was overcoming not realizing that her sister loved her. Not that she wasn't trying to protect her sister. Not to mention, that's what Anna's trying to do, too. So they're just trying to constantly protect each other, realizing they can't, and not really letting each other stand on their own 2 feet. So this is not really changing character development, really. And Elsa isn't, in this case, trying to protect Anna from her. Before, she was trying to make Anna go away because she thought she was the danger. Now she's trying to protect Anna because her magic is stronger. She can take care of herself, and Anna can't. And she needs to get something done, and she can't be protecting Anna too. So that is what she is doing. So the girls end up going off on their own, while Kristoff has actually started to talk to one of the natives about trying to propose. And while he's doing that, the girls disappear. Anna follows Elsa off somewhere, so he's stuck with them. And they travel, they see the dam, and then they find their parents' ship. And this is where there's a little bit of backsliding with Elsa. So they go in, and Anna says it's like there's always a secret compartment which contains maps of what the heck they're doing. And it turns out that they were trying to get through the North Sea, not the South Sea, and find their way to this mystical river to figure out what was going on with Elsa's powers. So Elsa automatically runs outside. This is my fault, because one of the big things with here is water has a memory. and it remembers things. So Elsa's using her ice magic to show them what happened. And she's able to basically use the water that's still kind of inside the ship to show her that they were killed in a storm trying to get here. So she blames herself, and Elsa's like, Anna's like, you're not responsible for our parents' choices. This is not your fault. And this is when she pushes Anna away. And she accepts that, but she needs to go to where they went. And she needs to go to this mystical river. And she cannot take Anna with her. And she creates an ice sled that encompasses. She brings Anna and Olaf into a hug, and then she creates this ice boat and sends them off. And then basically you go to how Anna and Olaf are. It's like Elsa's upset, Olaf's upset because Anna's upset and Olaf are both upset that Anna pushed them away. They get through the earth giants by being quiet, go off a waterfall, and end up in a cave, and they're wandering around. And trying to think. And then it skips back to Elsa, who is fighting the waves. She keeps trying to use her ice magic to get through the storm. And basically she's fighting the water elemental, which is a horse. And eventually she's able to tame this thing and ride it and realize it's a glacier, which is a river of ice. And she gets there, and it shows her the past. So she's singing, this is when she sings the song Into the Unknown. And there's a whole lot of clothing changes going on. And she is going through, she's seeing the past. She gets a look of which you see her singing her Let It Go song, which she kind of cringes at. She sees Prince's hand where she kind of flicks him away, and other things. And then she eventually jumps down and then she sees her and her mother singing in a duet. And she's realizing that there is and she'd already kind of figured out by talking to one of the natives, that there's a fifth elemental spirit. And at this point she realizes she's the fifth elemental spirit. But then she sees into the past, and she sees that her grandfather, they already brought some of the past back before this, where they see and hear their grandfather, their father's father, saying that people with magical powers get arrogant and think they should not obey the king. And it's like, okay, something's wrong here. This isn't right. And Elsa discovers that he built the dam as a trick to diminish the powers and to essentially lock in the native people. And then it shows her grandfather killing the unarmed leader of those native people. And then she's turning to ice, and she sends this image to Anna. And then she pretty much freezes. And Anna gets that with Olaf, and she realizes that she has to destroy the dam, that's what's going to bring everything back. But then they also realize, as Olaf deteriorates, that something else is gone. Essentially, she's frozen. And so this is actually my favorite song with Anna. Now the words of all you can do is do the next right thing is repeated a couple of times before this. But this is the song that almost represents depression in many ways, and what you have to do. She's alone, She's cold. Everything is weighing her down. And she has to find a way to stand up without her sister. It's like, I followed you. I always did. Now I have to figure out how to go on without you and do the next right thing. She's like, I can take a step and then another. Don't think too far. It's too much. Just take a step and just do the next right thing. And that is what it's about for Anna. She has to realize that she has to do things on her own. She can't constantly be following around Elsa and trying to protect her sister. Because it's like her sister's gone somewhere where she can't follow. She doesn't know where her sister's at. So she gets out, and then she goes wakes the earth giants and gets them to follow her to destroy the dam. And she's being followed. They're chasing her. Then Kristoff shows up on top of Sven. It's like, she's like, Kristoff. He's like, yeah, my love isn't that fragile. My love's not that fragile. Where do you need to go? It's like, to the dam. And they get to the base of the dam. He's like, we'll meet you on the other side. And she climbs up the dam as she's stopped by the soldiers. Like, we're sworn to protect this dam. She's like, the dam is the problem. We need to destroy the dam to set things right. This is how to lift the mist. We have to do it. So they back off. And Anna basically gets the giants to start destroying the dam. And then she's rescued by both the soldier and Kristoff. Because they destroyed the dam. And then the water is heading toward Arendelle. Well, the moment she releases the dam, Elsa's unfrozen. She gets on the ice spirit, on the ice horse, and she races underwater through the wave and stops and freezes the basically cascading water that's heading toward Arendelle when they destroy this dam. And then the water settles and it goes back. So everything goes kind of back. It backs off, goes back to the ocean essentially, and settles. And so, and then of course, Olaf is gone, and Anna is still believes that Elsa's gone. And then of course Elsa comes to her. And of course you also see all the natives and the soldiers. Like, we see Sky for the first time in decades. So, or ever, in the case of the younger ones. And then Elsa shows up, and Anna and Elsa hug. And Elsa whispers, it's like, Anna, do you want to build a snowman? And she brings Olaf back, because again, water has a memory. And so she brings Olaf back, and Anna realizes, you're the elemental. And she's like, yeah. And it's like, our mother had 2 daughters. So essentially this is telling Anna that you're going to be queen. I'm going to stay here. But we will still keep seeing each other. Then, of course, Kristoff proposes. He proposes. And then it ends with Anna's coronation and Kristoff in a suit. and she kisses him and ruffles his hair. It's like, I like you in leather. I like you better in leather. So technically I don't know, they haven't married yet. There is going to be a third one. I will probably review that. But that is how it ends. I do enjoy this film. I particularly enjoy Anna's ballad because, one, Kristen Bell plays it perfectly, and Idina Menzel singing Into the Unknown is absolutely utter perfect. And I know that they actually did respect the Somali people, which I believe are natives of Finland. Yes, I think it's Finland. It must be Finland. Otherwise, it's Norway. But the native peoples of that region. when it came to what they're doing, which is not always the Disney's best. But again, there are darker themes with this, but there has to be. So, because the girls are older. So it will be interesting to see what they do with Frozen 3. Hopefully we'll finally get a wedding. Maybe Elsa will find something else going on. Who knows? It does actually end with Anna sending a message via Gale, which is the wind spirit, to Anna about coming for playing charades and not to be late. And her Aunt Elsa getting on the horse spirit and heading toward Arendelle. Because, again, all because they're not living together anymore doesn't mean that they're still not sisters and they still love each other. They still get to spend time together. It's just Elsa is where she needs to be and Anna is running Arendelle, which is probably where Anna needs to be. But again, I liked this film a lot. Yes, there are darker themes, but particularly Anna's ballad, I think, strikes and hits well when it represents depression. And I really do think that why Into the Unknown is a great song. I think Anna's ballad is really the standout in this one, similar to the way Let It Go, which was Elsa's song that resonated with people coming out and saying, this is who I am, I'm not going to hide. Why Anna's is finding strength through facing depression. Sometimes all you can do is take one more step. You can't look too far. You just do the next right thing. And that's really, in some ways, the way it is. Particularly, and you guys are going to be seeing this in 2025, this is kind of where we're at, is all we can do right now in this political climate is the next right thing. We can take the next step. Don't look too far. You can't. I personally cannot take it. I'm just going to keep doing the next right thing and take the next step. So that is the end of this review. Again, I highly recommend both those films. And as my next right thing, I'm going to be doing fairy tales this year. So as a way to, if you guys are looking to disappear into my videos and just listen to me talk about the various different fairy tales, or next month rant about the live action Lion King. I've already done The Princess and the Frog, so for Black History Month I'm going to do The Lion King, because that is the only other African film they've really done. So we're going to be talking about the Lion King. I'm also going to be talking about African fairy tales as well. So I'm going to be looking at some of those. Not to mention The Princess and the Frog I had issues with. You can check out my video on that. I have opinions. I have opinions about The Princess and the Frog. Then we're going to do go back to Irish History Month and look at Merida. Though that Merida does actually tie into Women's History Month as well. Because there is absolutely no love interest whatsoever in Brave. And no, I have not seen it. So we'll be doing with some Irish fairy tales and a few other things. So if you would like to disappear with me into the world of Disney princesses and their original fairy tales and various other fairy tales, please come and join me here in 2025. And we will still be doing mysteries in December, because that is what I do in honor of my own mother. That was her love. I just finished up doing our mysteries for 2024, which, strangely enough, I actually had planned before my mother passed. So, and that just happened to be that is what she loved. So, but we are going to be doing mysteries. I have no idea what on earth I have planned for that. But please come join me if you want to disappear and explore some fairy tales with me. So, thank you, and hopefully I'll see you next time.